Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Sorry I'm starting at this time. It is due to internet challenges in my location, and it is tied to the weather, where I think the network is stable now. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmund Obilo. The big talk today is jihadism, violence in the Nigerian state. The big talk today is the Orire abduction, and it is painful, it is sad, but we must not despair. We must rise to the challenge, and we are capable of rising to the challenge. The children will return. And to those who have lost their loved ones, accept our condolences. The task of nation building is a task for all. It has happened, and together we will make sure it doesn't happen again. At this point, the Oyo State government requires our support. The Nigerian government requires our support. It also means we must be alert at all times. There is a mission. The jihadists are on a mission. They want to create an Islamic state in Nigeria, and we will resist them. They want to disrupt the peace of the country. We will deal with them. They are already in the forest. We will confront them. Do not despair. The time to rise as a people is now. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. So let's begin the talk. At this point, I'll bring in a former editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Tribune, a former managing director and editor-in-chief of the Daily Times of Nigeria. I'm talking about Chief Taiwo Adini. He has a lot to say. So let's listen to Taiwo Adini on State Affairs. Are you there? The radio man is here. Bandits are at the edges of Yoruba land.
Yes.
Bandits are conquering territories.
Yes.
Kwara is under siege.
Yes.
What's going on?
Honestly, I didn't expect that I would have to comment or discuss the current government or what is going on under the watch of Tinubu. For two reasons. One, very personal, and second, philosophical. Maybe sometimes you get to a stage in your understanding of people and events that you think commenting or talking about them will be a waste of time. I mean, you have somebody who is probably defecating on the streets or urinating all over the place, and you know that more than 1,000 people have told him, stop urinating here. And the person continues. So you, as a wise elder statesman, you don't want to comment on that anymore. Because what do you want to say that is going to be different from what 1,000 people have said, and there's been no change? But I respect you as an intellectual broadcaster, and all the leaders of the APC, all the prominent leaders, said it publicly that they invited bandits into this country to drive away Jonathan. So the bandits we have, by their own admission, were created by the APC, were enhanced by APC, were influenced by APC, That's why they will say, some APC leaders or the agents will say, bandits are our brothers. When they repent, we reabsorb them. They told us that they brought bandits. They told us that when bandits needed women, they went to Chibok and gave them 360 girls.
Did they say that?
Go and research. They admitted, there was no way 360 girls would be taken away from anywhere on earth without government involvement. It's not possible. The logistics. How do you take 360 people from a school, whether in the night or in broad daylight, without agents of government being involved? It's not possible. And we've had Abacha several times being quoted that when insurgency lasts more than a week, government has a hand in it. There's no way where are these insurgents, all these bandits? How could they transport 360 people? How could they? The buses, the whatever, the logistic. Where would they take them to? How would they feed them? How would they close them? It's just not possible for a small organization like bandits to take 360 people. So it was facilitated by people in power. There's no doubt about that. So now the APC is still the government in power. It's difficult. It's difficult for them to chase away their children.
Is it intentional, or it has gone out of their hands?
Out of control.
If they brought it.
Yes, it was. Rufai told us when he was still a leader of the APC that that they also paid them, say, please go back to where we brought you from. That even when they paid them, they still refused to go because they enjoyed the patronage they've had, and they continue to stay. And of course, anytime they kidnap or anytime government gives them money, they're empowered to bring in more people. And then Buhari went to Cairo and said all Fulani anywhere in Africa should come to Nigeria. And like I said in one of my commentaries, when he was inviting Fulani from all over the world or from all over Africa to come to Nigeria, he was inviting poor, wretched, criminal Fulanis.
Were you worried that they are occupying territories?
Of course I am. I am very worried. In fact, before all this banditry, I'd always, for the past 50 years, I've been calling for resolution of national question. I've been calling for, I first started with confederation, but I later found that confederation will not even solve the problem. That the best solution to this contraption is this de-amalgamation. That's the only solution. That's what's going to stop the banditry.
De-amalgamation is equals to dissolution?
Yes, de-amalgamation, yes.
To your turn to Israel?
Yes. Let the Igbos go. Let them have their own country. Let Yoruba have their own country. Let the Ijaws have their own country. Let the Hausa have their own country.
The Hausa will be landlocked.
There are so many landlord countries in the world. In Europe, in Asia, so many landlord countries in the world.
Are you saying Nigeria cannot work?
The way it is run, it will never work. Never.
The way it is run.
The way it is run.
If the way it is run is modified?
It cannot be modified. I mean, in my autobiography, when I mentioned this question of whether through gun or through fighting, I then zeroed in on mind. That what will probably change the situation we are in is if the mind can be tamed, if the mind can be reached, if the mind can be reorientated, if the mind is the master of man. The bandit has a mind. The governor has a mind. The leaders have minds. So mind is the master of man. If they can change the mind, and that change can only come again from leadership.
What kind of leadership?
Philosophical leadership. A philosopher king, as Plato defined it. The man who has a master mind is the only one who can redefine mind. Not an empty-headed person that will redefine mind.
Do we have empty-headed persons occupying positions at the moment?
Of course, we know that. I mean, if people are not empty-headed, they will not be stealing with impunity. People, how can anybody steal 91 billion naira? I mean, if the person is not empty-headed, I quoted a pastor, I've forgotten his name, I think it's just, I can't remember now, who said that some people are so poor that all they have is money. It's only a brainless person who will indulge in reckless accumulation of wealth and property.
Bandits have been around in Yoruba land.
Yes, it's frightening.
But now, the occupying bandit is approaching.
Yes.
They are in Kwara.
Yes.
What should we do?
For immediate solution, what we can do is for government to be firm. But I can't see that happening. Because newspapers carry the stories, television stations, and so on and so forth. Everybody knows, all those in government know what is going on. But that they only go to express sympathy, to say it will never happen again, and so on and so forth.
Are the people powerless in this case? Can they save themselves?
They can.
How?
Well, first of all, again, it's difficult because when I say vigilante groups, government, that nebulous word, and also weaken them by even punishing those who are manufacturing arms. I mean, when you are a blacksmith who can make guns and so on, they come and attack you, and they say you should not produce. So those amongst the ordinary citizens who could produce guns and produce other things to fight, government has tied their hands behind their back. So,
will circumstances bring them up?
Yeah, of course. I've spoken about underground before. It will happen. It will happen. I know that those who have the power, who have the spiritual power, they still don't feel sufficiently alarmed by what is happening. When they reach the stage that we reached in 64, 65, and in 83 December, they will come on board and something will happen.
Here we go.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
That's Chief Adini, former editor-in-chief of the Nigerian Tribune, former managing director, editor-in-chief of the Daily Times of Nigeria. I had that interview with him before the Orire adoption. Say, poverty is a form of violence. Humiliation is a form of violence. Being told day after day that you are worthless, that your ethnicity is cursed, that your children will starve, that is a slow, grinding murder of the person. And when a person has nothing left to lose, when the world has offered them only the boot of the state or the bullet of the militia, they will choose the bullet. Because at least the bullet offers dignity. At least the bullet says you matter enough to fight for. Hey, the jihadists want to create an Islamic state in Nigeria. Will you allow that? It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I will bring you an interview with Taiwo Adibio, a researcher and security policy advisor on Lake Chad Basin and West and Central Africa at the Institute for Security Studies. But you have to wait a bit. Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned. You can see the lines scrolling on the screen. What do you think? You can call the numbers on the screen and let's start a discussion. The jihadists want to create an Islamic state in Nigeria. They are not joking, they are armed. They are in the Lake Chad Basin. Since 2009, they've made their point clear. Now, they are in Yoruba land. These ones are not just the usual bandit. These ones are jihadists. These ones are extremists. They are loaded. How do we take on them? So you can call on WhatsApp. You can call 080 18449. That is 080 18449. You can see the number scrolling on the screen. Let's hear from you. Have you given up? I have come to talk to you, and I have come to hear your voice. Have you given up? Look at this. In the Sahel, there is a problem. And I was looking at the work of the theologian Reinhard Nebel. He wrote that man's capacity for justice makes democracy possible, but man's inclination to injustice makes democracy necessary. One point Chief Adini made in that interview is the question of poor governance and injustice in Nigeria. occasioned by the character of leadership. When you impoverish the people, you create violence. You can't run away from it. So as we talk about jihadists, poverty is also a problem encouraging this insurgency. And the political class has not learnt any lesson. Their character has not changed. In fact, they are getting worse in their character. You look at the billions of naira being stolen by those who ought to protect the state, and you understand why this violence will not stop. Because to stop it, you must come to equity with clean hands. These guys are not ready. Look, in the Sahel and in northern Nigeria, there is no democracy in the true sense of the word. There is no justice. There are only two kinds: the justice that is denied and the justice that is deferred. Economic justice. So what does that look like on the ground? It looks like a farmer in Borno State who can actually keep the harvest he grows without paying a tax to ISWAP. ISWAP has checkpoints. Checkpoints next to the army's checkpoint. It looks like a herder in Plateau State who has a legal route to graze his cattle, a water point that is not owned by a militia, and a market where he can sell his livestock without fear of rustlers. He can only dream of that. If the words of Taiwo Adibio are anything to go by, the jihadists have been able to create an alternative state. Economic justice means that the wealth of the land, the gold in Mali, the oil in Nigeria, the uranium in Niger, does not flow only to foreign companies and corrupt generals. That it stays and benefits the people. It builds roads. It builds schools. It puts bread in the mouth of the boy who is currently holding a rifle because it is the only job he could find. Are you with me? The program is State Affairs. I would like to hear from you. So you can call the numbers scrolling on the screen. The program runs till 11 a.m. Nigerian time. We are also broadcasting on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. You can also join the conversation on my X page. So you can join me on X and leave your comments there. You can also leave your comments on my YouTube page. I'll be glad to read your message. To understand the polity, let me bring in a former governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. He thinks that the APC has lost its bearing and its vision. So if the ruling party has lost its bearing and vision, you can imagine what is happening to Nigeria's politics.
The party is now the agent of government, not the other way around.
You're also guilty, are you not?
How am I guilty?
You imposed a governorship candidate as the leader of your party.
No, I didn't.
You didn't impose?
I didn't impose anybody.
You were the leader of the party.
I was the leader of the party.
You were the party.
No, I wasn't the party. There was a primary in my state that the current governor contested against at least 6 other candidates.
And you used your influence.
I don't think using influence or having a preference is necessarily a bad thing. What is bad is preventing people from exercising their franchise. And we did not do that in Ekiti. Because for me, even when I told you that I was invited and supported by Governor Adibio, in 2006, in the primary in my party, I ran against 33 candidates. Even as former governor, serving minister, who just resigned from office, I was not coronated. I went to the field with another 20 aspirants. They didn't give me the preference that, oh, he was a former governor, let's just hand it over to him to contest for the governorship. No. So the tradition in Ekiti, I don't know about other places, and there's nothing in principle wrong with consensus. If it is genuine consensus, I have no objection to it. However, I am a product of a democratic process, and I would always be on the side of primary.
On the side of primary?
All the time.
No, your party has become consensus here, consensus there.
Well, those are also part of the challenges that we're dealing with. I agree with you, and I'm critical of it.
You know, you listen to APC, I don't see intellectualism in your party. I just see raw politics.
You don't see intellectualism because there's no debate in our party.
I don't see debate.
There's no debate. The chapter you referred to there was an address that I gave at the party conference, the Southwest Conference of the party in Lagos. And I was very explicit that this is not where the party has come from, that we have lost our bearing and we've lost the vision of the founding fathers of this party.
One of the founding fathers is the president.
Well, yes, the president is one of the founding fathers, but maybe it's...
Even local government chairmen run to the president.
Maybe he's consumed by the minutiae of governance, and he has left that to others to
handle. Is that not Tinubu's politics?
What do you mean?
Is that not Tinubu's politics?
What is his politics?
Imposition.
I don't believe so.
Is that not Tinubu's politics?
Is that his politics?
Yes.
Well, you know, you are assessing this from the outside. I am inside.
Even from Lagos State, when Tinubu speaks, everybody keeps quiet.
Maybe they agree with him.
And now you see everybody running to Aso Rock when they should be on the field.
It would be unfortunate if everybody is running to Aso Rock because they want to see. They may be going to Aso Rock for a variety of reasons.
They're all begging for consensus. And you hear the debate, oh, the president have chosen this person. Step down.
But you know the danger of that? So those who don't get that consensus, what do you think will happen? You think they'll be happy? So you are waiting for an implosion then.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
That's Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ekiti State, defining Nigeria's politics. It is that politics that has led us to where we are. It is the politics that has degraded our humanity. And again, the politicians are on the road. They want to get power. Power for what? That's the question. They get power, they cannot fight bandits. They get power, they cannot stop the jihadists. And Nigerians, when you get so excited about politics that does not change its form, politics that does not change its character, I ask you, what really are you expecting? If the character of politics remains consistent, it will continue to produce the same result. So when you are looking up to a Messiah to fall from the same system, then I wonder if you are not dreaming. You cannot continue to do things the same way and expect different results. Anyway, the ball is always in our court. Watch before you leap. Watch before you leap. Today, we are talking about the Orire adoption. Students have been adopted, teachers adopted. One of the teachers was taken out in a dastardly way. It is painful, it is sad. But this is not the time to despair. It is time to stand up and say, hey, we can defend our land, that we can cooperate together, that we can make government rise to the challenge of nation building, that this is our chance to equip the army, to equip organizations like Amotekun. It is our chance. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The program is State Affairs. I am Edmondo Bilo. So let me bring in Taiwo Adibio. Taiwo Adibio will help us understand what is going on. In this interview, he talks about an alternative state. In this interview, he takes us to the Lake Chad Basin. Taiwo Adibio is a researcher and security policy advisor at the Institute for Security Studies, Pretoria, South Africa. As a journalist, he covered Africa for the Associated Press and served as investigations editor at Premium Times. Taiwo Adibio is the chairman of your Global Forum. Let's ride with him. On your article, you make a point that based on videos circulating from the Orire abduction and facts that the abductors have used Boko Haram-style defensive tactics, including improvised explosive devices, the criminals are likely violent extremist terrorists rather than the regular bandit groups. The conclusion you make here is threatening. How did you arrive at this point?
Yeah, thank you very much. For professionals who work at the security sector, after an attack or before an attack, the most important thing before you um, design your response is assessment of the threat. So, and that's similar to what I did in that post. So, basically, after years of researching Boko Haram, both factions, both the Jazz wing and the ISWAP wing, we know their methods. We know how they conduct their attacks, what happens when the attacks were conducted. And when you compare them to regular bandits, you see a discrepancy. For example, if the regular bandits, the regular kidnappers, if they attack, if they kidnap someone, their target, when they are looking for money, is not usually directed at the state, but the family members of those people. That's one. In this case, what you will see is that they tend to try to address the state, the government. So they may be looking for a very huge windfall or prisoner swap. We'll free your people if you can release these people from prison. You would also see sophistication in their methods, in their defensive methods. They knew that they will be tracked. Then they've put in place minefields, Jihadists. So that's something that is usually beyond the regular bandits, the regular kidnappers. So more so, that area is close as forest corridors, linking Borgo Kenji axis, where we know certainly that at least 4 violent extremist terrorist groups are operating. So what does it take for them to just use the forest corridors and attack vulnerable communities? So if you put all this together, you would say that it's most likely violent extremist terrorist group, likely Boko Haram or Ansaru Mahmouda. But the latest press statement from Nigeria's defense headquarters confirmed that it was JAS, it was Boko Haram actually. So that confirms our own earlier assessment.
Look at what you wrote here. You said the opportunity to stop violent extremism and terrorism actors before they launched attacks in the southwest has already been missed after the Orire mass abduction. Are you saying that Oyo State is already within the axis of the violent extremists?
Yes, absolutely. That's correct. Again, it's about assessment of the threat. Nigeria has western borderlands, starting from Sokoto, part of Kebbi State, and then part of Niger State, particularly Aguara and Borgu, and then part of Kwara State, Kenji and Pariti, local government areas of northern Kebbi. So if you look at that line, the next place when you come further south is northern Oyo State. So much before now, there should have been an assessment of the threat, an expanded threat map that would cover northern Oyo State. So it's just about looking, okay, how can we predict these people? If we conduct clearance operation here, for example, where's the next place they could move to? So if you are striking them in Kayama, in Bariti, part of Kwara State, where they could possibly move to is another place, that is linked through poorly governed forest corridors. And where is that? If you are coming south, that is Old Oyo National Park. So that means that all communities within Old Oyo National Park, all communities surrounding Old Oyo National Park, Northern Oyo State, they are threatened. So that opportunity was there to prevent this type of attack from taking place. Unfortunately, it was missed. But apart from predictions, there were actually concrete incidents suggesting that those areas were threatened. For example, in a report that I published in 2021, communities around Yawata, Igbo Hauro Dada, they reported that some strange people were coming to them, and for example, goods that was sold for 100 naira, they could pay 1,000 naira. And then they were threatening them that you should not report to anybody. We will have no problem with you. We will protect you, but do not report us to anybody. That is classic Boko Haram method. This was reported. A member of the House of Assembly of Oyo State back in 2022 reported similar thing. I wrote my own report in 2021. So these pieces could have been used to conduct preventive strikes, to push them out of the place. The military did say that it conducted strikes, clearance operations in the Old Oyo National Park. But that, unfortunately, was failing to learn from how Boko Haram entrenched itself in the Northeast. So after you conducted clearance operation in Old Oyo National Park, what happened? Did you put troops there? Did you dominate the forest? You left the forest. So what happens? They will return to the place when they assess that, okay, the threat is gone. So they will come back to the place. Yeah. So pointedly, to your question, we missed the opportunity. But what we know now is that they have not entrenched themselves in the region. It's not like what you have in northeastern Nigeria already. So opportunities are still there to prevent the entrenchment of these groups in the region.
You are a researcher and security policy advisor on Lake Chad Basin and West and Central Africa at the Institute for Security Studies, Pretoria, South Africa. Yeah. Can you educate us? What is going on in that Lake Chad Basin at the moment?
At the moment, Nigerian Armed Forces, the Army and the Air Force particularly, supported by United States African Command, they've been persistently striking the Lake Chad Highlands, which are the headquarters of Islamic State West African province. And the strikes, have been effective for at least 1 week since the persistent strike started. ISWAP has not conducted a single attack. Let me say one thing quickly, why that is important. ISWAP, they fight every day. Why do they fight every day? Their fighters, they were not usually paid salaries. So the only way they make their money is through what they call Ganima. Ganima means spoils of war. So when they attack military base, for example, they will try to capture weapons. So when they bring the weapons to their base, the dollar, that's what they call it. In their own mind, they've created a state for themselves. So dollar means state. So the state will buy the weapons from them. Then they will go share the money. So that is a motivational variable for them to go fight every day. And in the pieces of advice that we have presented to the government of the Chad Basin, the 4 countries, and the African Union, what we have said is that it is not just enough for you to to conduct kinetic operations to attack these people, but the ecosystem that enables them, that sustains them, has to be dismantled. The most important of this ecosystem is their financing. If, for example, they are not able to make money, they are not able to tax fishing in the lecture, that means they will have little or no money to pay their fighters. When they are not able to pay their fighters, what happens? The fighters have lost a key motivation to go fight. It's just recently, maybe just in the past month, that they start paying some fighters 75,000 naira a month. But the majority of the fighters are not paid monthly. So they have to go fight every day, and not just attacking civilians, but attacking military formations. Last year, they successfully attacked around 30 military formations, capturing massive weapons. So these weapons, they will take them to their bosses, the state, that's the dollar, then they will pay them. So there's an amount they pay for AK-47, there's an amount they pay for anti-aircraft weapon. So it's about strategy, basically. If they allow their fighters to keep their weapons, that means there could be rupture within them. There could be resistance. There could be rebellion. So if Nigerian military can, for example, dismantle that financing system, it means that, one, the fighters will lose the motivation to go fight. Two, there will now be a high chance that you could cause rupture within them. They could fight themselves because they will have weapons. So that control that the guys higher up would have on those below them will be out of it because everyone now has weapons. So the situation is still serious in the lecture, but currently persistent airstrikes are ongoing, and if sustained, Nigeria and other Lake Chad basin countries would have made significant progress against Boko Haram. But like I said, you have not defeated them until you are able to dismantle the ecosystem that sustains them.
Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
What do you think they want in the Southwest?
First, ideology. To them, what they want to create fundamentally is an Islamic state. So they want to expand their reach. They want to expand their state. I mentioned something called Dawla earlier, state. Yeah, so that first. Second thing is also financing logic. The bigger your territory, the bigger your stream of revenue. So in Borgu Kenji axis, for example, they are taxing logging. They are taxing low-scale mining in those places. So they are making money to finance themselves. And in the Southwest, too, it's compared to other places, it's a prosperous region. So if they can conduct high-profile abductions, they will make serious money. If they can control the whole Dele National Park, that means they can make more money. They can start levying communities. They can make more money to finance themselves. But fundamentally, it's about ideology. They want to spread their tentacle. It's just like how a normal state want to expand itself, want to have places it controls, so that is it.
They want an Islamic state. They want to govern.
Yes. That's always known. That's been the fundamental objective for years.
Because while I was reading your post, you said preventing entrenchment requires denying these groups the opportunity to position themselves as an alternative state. Looking at how far Boko Haram has entrenched itself since 2009 in the Northeast, do we have the capacity to check them in Yoruba land?
If you check the post that you refer to, I think I mentioned 3 things that I believe we have to do. And it's important we do those 3 things before they entrench themselves. Once they consolidate, once they entrench themselves, the best we can do, given business as usual, is managing the problem. So what are those things? But before then, let's talk about alternative states. You see, the areas that are vulnerable, they are also the areas that are neglected, that are poorly governed. And in that kind of place, there's a void for armed criminals to exploit. To say, okay, if you have dispute among yourselves, come to us. We'll help you settle it. If there's a fire incident, there is no SEMA or NEMA to go there, because it's remote. They are rural people, they are poor. Government does not take them as important. Boko Haram will say, okay, these are bags of cement. Go and rebuild your houses. So what they are doing is that they are acquiring local cooperation, which long-term would mean that they will integrate those communities into their intelligence network. In the Northeast, for example, the research that I'm currently conducting, I interviewed several ex-fighters, and I asked them, how do you get to integrate communities into your intelligence network in a way that the Nigerian military or Cameroonian military is not able to? So they told me that in each community, they would have what they call Rijal. Rijal is like a secret police who would be in that community, and then it would be reporting anything that is going on, spying on military. When attacks are coming, they will tell them, okay, you have to run, you have to seek cover, all those things. So the process toward that is acquiring local cooperation, okay. But it will not be possible if there is state presence in those places. So state presence is very important. So now, what do we have to do in the Southwest? It is important that Nigeria, creates a map of the threats covering the western borderlands from Sokoto down to northern Oyo State. But specifically for us in Oyo State, northern Oyo State particularly, there has to be comprehensive military response, including Army, including Air Force, and strong intelligence system, so that you can isolate criminals and then attack them, and assume a non-reactive posture, be offensive. You don't wait for them. You have to fight them. Make this place not conducive for them. Secondly, also, the local security network, Amoteco, for example, they have to be strengthened because of their knowledge of the local terrain, because they can more easily acquire intelligence from local communities, because they are from that place. So it would just be like CJTF, which you have in Borno State. And thirdly, importantly, is for the states to expand services, accountability, governance to these rural places. Again, to prevent these armed groups from exploiting the void that exists when the state is not present. Yeah. So by the time we do these things, strong military presence, strengthening the local security network, and also strengthening the resilience and preparedness of communities. You can create something like early warning system. You cannot have boots on the ground everywhere. You cannot put security forces everywhere, but you can have your eyes everywhere. So train community people. If you see strange things, if you see strange faces, this is where to report to. And where they are reporting to, they have to be assured that there will be rapid response. So that's what we encourage people to report whatever they see.
What can we do with Amotekun as things stand now?
With Amotekun, that's what I essentially meant by local security network. But with Amotekun, currently, we have an opportunity. But we need to harness it. We need to strengthen Amotekun. I've interviewed some of them, including guys higher up in the Amotekun network. One, there is problem of weapons. They do not have sophisticated weapons. There is issue of motivation. Many of them talk about not even having job security, welfare. So the governors have to assume an emergency mode. So harness the opportunity of Amotekun, strengthen them, ensure that you get the license from the federal government to import sophisticated weapons. It's very important. Yeah. So when you harm them, let them dominate the forest and let them work with the military. So they can be the first line of defense, again, because of their knowledge of the local environment. Yeah. But it is very important to also work with local communities as through an early warning system. Again, you cannot put Amotekun everywhere. You cannot put soldiers everywhere. It's realistically impossible. But you can have your eyes everywhere through the communities.
I have looked at the recommendations you've made. The state is critical, but this is a Nigerian state that since 2009 has not been able to check the rampaging activities of Boko Haram. As we speak, bandits are on rampage in different parts of Nigeria. Must we totally rely on the state? What can the people do for themselves?
If you would say something about the Nigerian state, unfortunately, it has proven adept at failing, failing at its most important responsibility, which is of the people. Just look at it. In the past years, the serious security threats that Nigeria had was Boko Haram. That was after we made progress in the Niger Delta, Boko Haram. But today, you now have serious security problem everywhere in the country. The capacity of the state forces is stretched already. So that means that the people themselves, the communities, they have to do something also. But I'm a very realistic person. If you say communities protect yourself, what we are doing is that we are letting the states get away. We are giving the state excuse. So the best the communities can do is to serve as early warning mechanism. That's the best that they can do. So however you look at it, the state, particularly local government and state government, will still be very critical in organizing these communities into an early warning system. Again, let them understand how to detect threats, how to detect unusual activity, like people coming to their community to mass purchase items. Where are they taking those items to? Why should someone come to your community and say they want to buy 100 loaves of bread? Where are they taking to? So when you see anything strange, anything unusual, this is where to report to, and then you can get a response. But of course, also, we know that in communities you have, local powerful individuals like hunters, people like that. They can be identified and be made as first line of defense. But without the state, again, it will be very difficult. But because you have to compare the kind of weapons that these local communities have and what these armed groups have. I'm not sure you've seen a video from Orire where someone was speaking in Yoruba, narrating the experience, his experience in the forest when they were tracking the abductors. What he was trying to explain was anti-aircraft weapon. And soldiers had to leave, had to, withdraw tactically from that place. And then you are now seeing some community with with cutlasses, then guns, should go and fight people like that. It's not realistic, except, of course, you can strengthen them, provide arms for them, which I'm not sure any state government can do now, and I'm not sure any community can mobilize the resources to buy, massive, sophisticated weapons. So, however you look at it, whether you want to harm communities, whether you want to put them into an early warning system, the state, particularly state governments and local governments, they are still very critical. And another way the state particularly is very critical, and this is something that the state governments in Southwest can do together. Collectively, they should assume an emergency mode, set politics aside, make a very strong demand, the kind of pressure brought when they wanted to form Amoteco, that we need a comprehensive federal military operation in the Southwest. We need licenses to import sophisticated weapons for Amoteco. Amoteco is a local security network. So when you talk about community defenses, think of Amoteco. They are community people. They are recruited from the community. So you don't need to go and bring farmers. You don't need to go and bring some children to give them weapons. Strengthen Amoteco. We have that opportunity already. Let's strengthen Amoteco first to work with the military.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Bandits are at the edges
Yes.
of Yoruba land.
Yes.
Bandits are conquering territories.
Yes.
Kwara is Last year, I went to a mining community in Oyo State, Itasa, and the number of young men I saw around a mining site, young men who are not from Oyo State or even the Southwest, the large number of them was alarming. Is that a security threat?
Yes, absolutely. It's a security threat. It's a threat amplifier. In the Northwest, for example, it's illegal mining and banditry are secularly causa. So what I'm saying, in essence, is that bandits are acquiring weapons to gain access to mine sites, to control mine sites. At the same time, they are making money from the mine sites to procure weapons. So what that means is that wherever you have opportunities for illegal mining, you will find armed criminals there because it gives them money to buy weapons, And again, it's also something that threatens Northern Oyo State. Bani in Kwara and Odo National Park, they are literally together. So when you go there, you see a lot of young people there. Many times you find armed people there. Yeah. So illegal mining, unregulated mining is a serious security threat.
You are a researcher and you are from Oyo State. In fact, you are the chairman of Oyo Global Forum. Who are you exchanging ideas with? Who are you exchanging your findings with to protect Oyo State?
Yeah, okay. As a researcher, my work does not particularly affect Oyo State, professionally speaking. Yeah, but luckily for me, I'm from Oyo State, like you mentioned, and not just from Oyo State. I'm involved in community effort as chairman of Oyo Global Forum, a body of professionals from Oyo. So we have strong links with public institutions, particularly the local government and representatives, in government. So those institutions, those individuals, we regularly engage them. So many things cannot be said in public, but we've been in constant touch with the local government in Oyo, Atiba, particularly, which shares boundary with Orire, and some of Atiba's communities are also in the whole Oyo National Park. So we've shared ideas with them on what they can do about mapping the access points from northern Oyo State to Atiba, for example, and what they can put in those places. We've also shared ideas with them about integrating communities into early warning system. There are details, but of course, because this is a public program, I will not be sharing those details. Yeah. So, but it is important that the state governments, which we have not been able to reach directly except through our public statements, get genuine advisory. It is very important. Perhaps if he had had, the pieces of right advice, the pieces of right information over the years, perhaps he could have prevented what happened in Orire. Because, like I mentioned earlier, the opportunities are there to prevent this. You have all the reports, you have all the pieces of information. We had intelligence that strange things were happening. So if you know how sleeper cells operate, they could be there for many years, assessing the threats, looking at the vulnerabilities before they eventually strike. Now, it's not too late. We just have to do the right things to prevent their entrenchment.
Before we round off this talk, these Boko Haram guys, what motivates them? What defines their psychological makeup? What drives them to do what they are doing?
Yeah, that's a complex thing. A number of factors. One, but the most important one is ideology, extreme ideology. It's a very dangerous thing. You see, in every community, everywhere, you have people with sanguinary soul who believes that you are not worth your life except you believe in what I believe, maybe politically, ethnically, religiously. You have very extreme people in every community. But what would determine if that extremism that an individual or a few individuals have will transform into a large-scale organized violence like Boko Haram is the social environment. So it's in northern Nigeria, unfortunately, where you have vast sea of poverty, limited opportunities, absence of governance. It's easy to recruit into organized violence in a place like that. It's not so easy in our home place, except, of course, they come from outside. So the first thing is ideology. But so many other factors too. Many join for protection. Many join for economic reasons. You have a wing of Boko Haram in Borno called the Gazua wing. What they do essentially is to rob people, is to kidnap people and collect small money. So a young person who is jobless, who is not educated, who has no hope, could find that attractive because it means that at least he would be hitting because he could steal from people. This swap, if they go fight, if they attack military, if they seize weapons, they will be paid. Somebody could join that, whether it's ideologically firm, for economic reasons, he could join. I was in Maiduguri recently and I interviewed a few persons who ran away from Boko Haram. Some of them said they were forcibly recruited into it as boys. Some of them said they joined, for economic reasons. And at the time, they felt, okay, this is enough. They ran away from them. So a lot of factors. That's why we keep saying that the most sustainable way to secure your country, to secure your society, is let there be decent life. Let there be hope for the people there. Provide services for the people. Be accountable. Let people have a sense that they have a responsive and responsible government. When they are injured, when they are offended, they could have confidence that there's a justice system. So when you have that, these extremists, they will not have the void to acquire local cooperation, to recruit people.
Mr. Taiwo Adibio, thank you for featuring on State Affairs.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to join you.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Speaking there with Taiwo Adibio, a researcher and security policy advisor on Lake Chad Basin and West and Central Africa at the Institute for Security Studies, Pretoria, South Africa. Taiwo Adibio formerly covered Africa for the Associated Press and served as investigations editor at Premium Times. He is the chairman of Oyo Global Forum. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. What do you think about the analysis of Adibio? If you are listening on Splash, yes, we are going for a commercial break. But if you are online, you can also call the numbers scrolling on the screen to join the conversation. Let me hear from you. Okay, we've got a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Edmond.
Good morning.
My name is Obembe. It's a privilege to be able to join you again this morning. The expert has spoken. What is there to be added? In all, the lacuna I will say, is still failure of our state government. Yes, they are called the Chief Security Officer of the state on paper. But I believe there is more they can do. What is my own thinking? When Buhari was in government, we said, Buhari was aiding and abetting the Fulanis because he's criminal. Buhari will not grant import licenses to the governors. Now a Yoruba man is there. Yoruba land is attacked. What stops the Yoruba man in the name of president from granting import licenses? If import licenses cannot be granted, how do these criminals get their arms? What happens to the state government using the same modus operandi to get the arms? Remember, Governor Ebikunle Amosun, when he was leaving government, he handed over a cache of arms. If you remember that information, before his successor took over, the arms were so large, stockpiled in the governor's house or governor's office. How did Ebikunle Amosun got those arms then? Why can't current governors get those arms? When they get the arms, what should they do with the arms? It has been mentioned, strengthening Amotekun. If federal government will not allow us legally arm Amotekun, what happened to, for example, your state park? Turning it to a shooting range, even for training every weekend. If you access a forest every weekend in the name of anything, whether the government coordinates, give these arms to some people, whether volunteers, whether Amotekun, Ibagani Adams, I read early this morning, said he has men. He's waiting for government approval. If government, each state government, harnesses what they have locally, get arms. If it's only every weekend, enter your forest, clear the place of normal people. Enter your forest, just be using it for training, whether for farming, whether for shooting range, whether for party, for your recruited armsmen. Every weekend, nobody will use that forest as a corridor or a hideout to kidnap. That is number one. Edmond Below me speaking with you, my father was kidnapped in 2010 or 2011. For over 8 months, I was negotiating with kidnapper. He was kidnapped in Ilesha before we finally arrested the ringleader in Ibadan. 1 year, 15 days after. before he took us to where he was buried in shallow grave. Some of us, we voluntarily. Why can't government, each state government, have at least volunteer, say 1,000, 2,000 men, who, even if it's not the heavy arms, who will go somewhere every weekend and do some shooting training, so that when you have an attack like that happened in your state, these people can then be recruited. No matter how the forest is, if you have volunteer of 2,000 men enter that forest, yes, I agree that man mentioned some professional things. They kidnapped, they planted landmines so that in case they are being tracked and co. The truth is that our military can coordinate volunteer forces aside Amotekun, aside and co. Let's use those Amotekun and partially train people at first. Then you have a backup plan. In crisis situation, determine people thinking out of the box, determine special modus operandi to tackle it. Israel is always at war. Once you are 16-year-old in Israel, you go through some military training, possibly serve compulsorily in their military. Why can't Nigeria begin to, state government, what happens to all the money? What happens to the security votes? You see, the state governors can do better, even in the face of the current realities we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. I enjoyed your contribution.
Thank you, Edmund.
The lines are open. The numbers are on the screen. One of them is 080 18449. What can we do? Or your state has been attacked. Do you have a story to tell? The lines are open. Let's hear from you. Call 080 999 18449. WhatsApp call and join the discourse. Let's look at what the newspapers are saying in Nigeria. Let's look at the newspaper headlines. Let's start with the Punch. Let's see if there are stories that resonate with you. Join the discourse. Okay, let's look at the Vanguard. There's this story in the Vanguard. Insecurity. Yoruba land unsafe. Terrorist cells spreading. I have solution. That is Gani Adams. Insecurity. Yoruba land unsafe. Terrorist cells spreading. I have solution. That is from Gani Adams. Memoirs, How I Confronted Joe Garba on His Plot to Overthrow Me. That is Yakubu Gowon speaking. Have you read his book? I've not read his book. I'm yet to lay my hands on the book. I look forward to reading the book when I return to Nigeria. At least, he has come out to tell us his story of the Nigerian Civil War. And that is one story I am always interested in. So Yakubu Gowon, thank you for writing your book. U.S. mulls new strikes on Iran. You also find that headline in the Vanguard newspaper. You didn't make Buhari president. I did the battle. Amici Tacos Tinubu. You want to read that story? You will find it in the Vanguard newspaper. Senegal's president sacks prime minister after months of tensions. Hey, so both of them could not cohabit. It is the question of power. So what will Sanko do now? Will he run against the president? I think he will. If not for the oppression that was mounted against him, he would have been the president of Senegal today. But that is politics and that's destiny. So you can call 080-349-18449. WhatsApp calls only. What do you think about what is going on? The Orire adoption. Bandits are around and terrorists are around. But I just refer to both sides as bandits. Bandits are terrorists. Terrorists are bandits. Join the discourse. Call the numbers on the screen. So let me bring you this interview. This interview I had with Dele Farotimi. It is his own perspective of the crisis of insecurity in Nigeria at the moment. Remember, you can also leave your comments on X. I am on X at the moment. You can also share your idea on the subject.
Hello, Mr. Edmond.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Edmond. Kayode Akiola in class today.
Good to hear your voice.
Mr. Edmond, it's very unfortunate that we Nigerians don't listen to wise counsel and clarion calls. I was in class over 12 years ago when Resoni Oshudari raised a fundamental issue about the state of Nigeria. That Nigeria, he used an analogy, that Nigeria is like an elephant. That a lot of people, they found the elephant dead in the shores of a river and they started scooping until they finished the elephant and they turned the knives against themselves. We are gradually moving to that stage mentioned by that great professor. Another one, a retired military officer, I don't know, maybe Babatogun, also said some classes ago that the whole of Okeogun forest has been saturated. What is our government doing? What is our leaders doing about all this? Mr. Edmond, we are too comfortable playing politics and all the shenanigans that have been displayed by our so-called leaders. It's very unfortunate. The state of this nation is very, very unfortunate. Thank you, Mr. Edmond, for this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the discourse. The number to call is 080 999 18449. That's the number to call. WhatsApp calls only. You can't reach me directly because I am not broadcasting from Nigeria. So you can make a WhatsApp call. Join the discourse. Jihadists want to make Nigeria an Islamic state. They are in Yoruba land as we speak. Hello, good morning.
Has been said, because you were there and because you interviewed Professor Borishade or Mr. Borishade, a lawyer. Let me add that a place like Ilesha in Osun State, if you are driving from Ibadan, once you exit Ife, you are in Oshu. Immediately after Oshu, just look to your right. All those places you drive to, you exit the outskirts of Ilesha approaching Akure, they are mining activities, full of these people. In the heart of Ilesha now, these people are in abundance. What was the former governor do? The one who became a minister of internal affairs. Yes, he set up a, will I say parastatal or a government agency headed by one man. He collects taxes from the miners. That guy miraculously became one of the richest men in the town. What happened to security? The whole of that town is sitting on the landmine. From that outskirts, you see them on the express with headpans, shovels, and co. In the heart of the town now, house rent got so expensive in the town because of these same people. It is just a bomb waiting to explode. About a year or less than 2 years ago, DSS conducted an operation. They came to arrest some of these criminals, which investigation showed them in the heart of Ilesha. I read it on the news, in a place called Ifosan. Ifosan is a street synonymous with Bashorin in Ibadan. Who did they arrest? People repairing, watch repairers. All these many jobs that these northerners do, that you think they are honey peasants, cola nut seller. These were the people that investigation led DSS from Abuja to arrest in that small town. What I'm saying in essence is this. We are surrounded in the whole of the southwest. Not just surrounded, they are with us. They are the Okada riders in Lagos. They are everywhere in the city of Ibadan, in the city center. If they are attacking in the outskirts, may God forbid them now, or if we act fast, we need to act faster than them, coming to the city center to park our children in schools. Good morning.
Thank you. The line is open. What can you see around you? If you see something, say something. What can you see? Have you traveled to the interiors of Oyo State in recent time? What did you see?
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. You see, Edmond.
Make your point.
Okay. You see,
Can you turn down the volume of what you are listening to? That's what you are listening to. You are not listening to the direct talk.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you.
You see what I'm trying to say?
All right, I'll let you go. Thank you. You see, if you are using your radio to monitor as you call, there will be delay because I am broadcasting through the internet. So just listen straight to me, because once you call through your phone, you'll be hearing my voice. Turn down your volume of your radio and listen to the voice coming through your own phone. By so doing, you'll be fine with me. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Edmond. Edmond, I was chairman of my community some years back, and we were called for a security meeting. I live in Abeokuta, but I'm calling from Island presently. So we went for the meeting, and in the meeting we were trying to say there are some lands on government spaces, like your first interviewer was talking about. Okay, let the police go there, check what is going on there. We know there are people living inside those bushes, but you know what? At the end of the day, caused the meeting to be scattered. Because there are paramount rulers that were there, were asking, they were like, let us raise money so that we can. And before we say Jack Robinson, while they were talking about raising money, the whole place got jam-packed, and we all left. People left angrily that day because we eventually did not even, because what we came for is actually for security, not to raise money. So my point here is this, Edmond. When we have the problem of shortage of Nigerian police, what do? Instead for Nigerian government to get more people into policing, we create NSDC. What is NSDC doing now? Before they will go to party. But thank God they have been able to give them maybe little job to do now. Instead for us to mobilize people, where are billions of people that Tinubu promised to employ into soldier, give them Agbado Ewangari? Where are them? Where are they? So instead for us now to employ more people into police, to employ more people so that all these ungoverned places we are shouting about could become governed places. Instead for us to employ more people into army, what are we doing? We will now create a Amotekun. We will now create another forest guard. We will create all manner of things that will not actually resolve the problem, but rather created more problems. Sometimes I don't understand how this country works. You have a problem, improve your personnel in policing, improve your personnel. There are a lot of places that you will work hours. Even me that live in the city, I work about 40 minutes to get to the next police station. So if you don't have enough personnel in policing, in army, put more people in those places. It's the same nonsense we see in custom, that people who want to govern and look at who comes in and who goes out of the country, they will be looking for money, and things are not done properly. I don't even understand this country.
Thank you.
More people in policing, put more people in army. Tinubu promised us billions of people in army that will be eating gari and bread and ewa. Where are they to today?
Thank you.
I don't even understand these people. And we will put all this ideology, Islamic ideology, into the Southwest now. We know it will come. We know it will come. We just all prepare. The next person is who we don't know. Thank you for your good job.
Thank you for calling the radio station. Thank you. The line is open. Remember, make your point. Don't listen to the radio to make your point. Listen through your phone. You can hear me. Good morning. You can hear me. You can call 080-999-18449. WhatsApp calls only. Okay. Let's listen to Dele Farotimi. He defines this issue in his own way.
Look at what you said here in your book. You said Nigeria was founded on indigenship, and Nigerians have never been citizens.
Yeah.
In the true sense of the word.
It's just the truth.
You also said that the dream of the Fulani people is to find a homeland in Nigeria. Is that why there is banditry?
What you call banditry is terrorism. And we should just stop using these words that minimize the crime. What is a bandit? Because I think the only synonym you have for banditry will be armed robbery. Abi? But these ones, they are kidnapping men and women and children, enslaving them. They are taking ransom. They are appearing on TikTok. They are actually, I think it was, there was one ACP, Usman Daji or something like that in Katsina. Keremi killed Usman Daji took his uniform, and then when they called a peace parley, the bandits, terrorists told the Katsina state government, don't bring any policeman to this meeting. And then Keremi wore Daji's uniform. The Nigerian state is so useless that an assistant commissioner of police was murdered by terrorists, Fulani terrorists. And then the same uniform adorned the back of the terrorists who sat down in what they call the peace negotiation with the same government. It is the impunity that has been extended to the Fulani that has made it impossible to deal decisively with the madness that has overtaken us.
You want the Fulani to be dealt with?
Any criminal should be dealt with. His tribe, his ethnicity, his religion should not matter. When we say Fulani, we must always be careful that it's not about the ethnic nationality of the criminal. It is the criminal that we need to be dealing with. That the person happens to be Fulani should not prevent his prosecution. It should not mean that because this person is from one particular ethnicity, you close your eyes to his criminality.
You have accused Buhari of enabling them.
Of course he did. And I'm not the first to say so. Usman Bugaje, or what was his name? Was it Baraje or Bugaje? The one that was the national secretary when they started their APC. He came into the public space. He volunteered the information. He said very clearly on the record that they imported Fulani terrorists from different Sahelian countries. He named them. Commodore Laumi went into Channel's TV station, the morning show. He equally said very clearly that as far back as 2016, they had given the list of terrorist sponsors in Nigeria to Buhari, and he did nothing about it. Malami had names running into over 100 given to him by the Emirates, the UAE, of sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria. He did nothing about it. It was only last year, late last year, that some militia men were seized in Kwara State who said that they got their arms from the National Security Advisor. They were carrying automatic weapons. They were Fulanis.
Not
Sorry?
to be terrorists. The arms were to be used for vigilante purposes. By
who? How can Fulani come into Kwara State as vigilantes? What about the people there?
But Kwara State is also the home of Fulani.
What about the others who are living there? How come the law enforcement agents were not even aware of them? The first they became aware of them was when they were apprehended. How? The Fulanis are the recurrent decimal in the insecurity that has overtaken our country. And then somebody who is a member of the same Fulani nation sits as the National Security Advisor of Nigeria and is harming a Fulani militia.
Or should we say that Tinubu armed Fulani militia?
The only name that was mentioned, at least in the public space, was the NSA.
To the president.
To the president.
Perhaps acting on behalf of the president.
You have to presume that the president is aware.
Is the NSA to the president?
So you have to presume that,
Yes.
but it doesn't make it right. How do you go about the business of handing automatic weapons to an ethnic militia that is already publicly complicit to the knowledge of all and sundry in the insecurity?
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That's Dele Farotimi, the author of the book Do Not Die in Their War. Let me also bring in the author of the book, From Soldier to Statesman, The Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari. I'm talking about Dr. Charles Omole. Charles Omole is on State Affairs.
The powerful cabal that Buhari created.
Yes, I mean, look, the thing that doesn't make sense in any of this to me really is still the same thing. That why is it that Buhari will be presented with things? I mean, for goodness sake, you signed a presidential authorization for something, and you are reminded 11 times about it. It still was not done, and you didn't do anything about it. That, for me, doesn't sound like a man who can control all the elements around him.
Does that explain the insecurity we saw during his time?
Partly. What I mean partly, I mean, for example, when you have an item that should cost $2.50, if Nigeria buys it directly with the foreign government, being bought at $30 by the defense leaders in Nigeria, because they're buying it through several contractors. Then you have to ask yourself that if you have only this much money, you're going to get less of the item at $30 each than at $2.50. So in the sense, therefore, that everything was about money. And monetization of insecurity, I think, was rampant during Buhari. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
When you say monetization, how do you mean?
Insecurity became profitable, more profitable. For example, there are cases I was told that, look at the issue of kidnapping, for example. Kidnapping started mainly in the Niger Delta. They were kidnapping foreigners. It was, you give us this, we'll release them. Then when the Niger Delta area started, they expanded to kidnapping of rich people. There's this guy in Lagos that was, Evans or whatever his name is, was arrested and prosecuted. When rich people toughened their security, I think the kidnappers now said, hold on a second, who has the deepest pocket outside the rich people? Government. So, but to make government to pay, they have to cause maximum embarrassment to the government. So when you go to a village in the bush and kidnap 100 children, their parents are peasants. As a kidnapper, you don't expect those parents to pay. You kidnap those 100 children because you want the government to pay. So what was happening, and a lot of this happened under Buhari, was a situation where they would tell Buhari, okay, we need to pay 500, I'm just using as an example, 500 million to get those kidnapped children released. If we approve it, maybe the children are actually released based on 50 million or 100 million. The remaining 400 million is pocketed by people.
So under Buhari, ransom was paid.
Oh, yes. But the point is, there are people within the system benefiting from it, is my point. So if you are benefiting from it, then the more kidnapping that happens, the better for you. That's a problem. So that's what I mean by insecurity became an industry. It was more profitable than security. So the people in the former military structure are making their money through procurement and graft that comes through procurement. The people who are in the wider security estate who are making money through, runs. I mean, at that time, if any of your lover is kidnapped and you call the police have a hostage negotiator, almost like not police officers, of course. They have it's like a business. They will refer you to those hostage negotiators because they're the ones that know how to go and deliver your ransom. So everybody was making money out of it. In fact, during Buhari time, many things Nigerians don't know is that these kidnappers, they understood the economic imperative. So what happened, if people gave me the testimony, is that maybe the ransom is 100 million. When you go and deliver it to the kidnappers, the people that actually do the delivery, the kidnappers will not count some of the money and give it to you.
That's your commission.
That's your commission, exactly. So
it's business.
It's business. So when you get your commission, will you not go home and pray that nobody should be kidnapped? So those people are always happy for new kidnapping cases because it's more money.
So we have networks of beneficiaries.
Absolutely. That's the right word. Network of beneficiaries from top to bottom that are benefiting from insecurity.
So they won't fight it.
And that is a problem we still have till today.
They won't fight it.
They will not fight it.
So the business is expanding.
There was this incident on the railway between Abuja and Kaduna. Then when, some people were kidnapped. One of the people that was kidnapped was a junior brother of a friend of mine. I think they were asking for 50 or 100 million. I'm not quite sure what the ransom figure was. So, everybody put money together, gave it to this guy to go and deliver. Our guy was released after the money was delivered. But the person that delivered now came back with a story. He said he had to go through 3 military checkpoints on his way to the rendezvous that was given by the kidnappers. He said, and in each of those checkpoints, they demanded money. He said, by the time we got to the third one, he said, look, these guys will count this money and they will find that it's less because you guys have been collecting. He said, tell them that we were the one that took it.
So the military know they are there.
So when he got to the kidnappers, and of course they counted the money, I think it was missing, 5, 6, 7 million, I can't remember. He told them, it's the checkpoint people that collected it. He said the kidnapper said, okay, no problem.
Can you break this down? Is it that the military knows that the kidnapper is there?
Of course they do. Every time people are kidnapped in Nigeria, the military are telling they know. Their excuse is always, we want to avoid collateral damage. That if we go there, like that, some of the hostages could be killed. But that is the excuse they are using, and that's why the industry is increasing. I have a feeling that if you do this study very well, you find that it's the same set of people that are repeating the kidnappings. So people you didn't get rid of first time are now kidnapping over and over again.
Are you saying it's not a Fulani problem?
Oh, no. It's not a Fulani problem at all. No, it's not Fulani. You see, the thing about this Fulani thing is, I read an intelligence report, for example, of somebody captured as a Boko Haram terrorist. Why did you join Boko Haram? So I was reading his interrogation. The guy said he lived in a village in the north. He said he came home one day and found a man who was the richest man in the village in his bedroom with his wife. He said in order not to commit crime, he went to report the man to the local police. Guess what? He said it's him, the husband, that the police came to arrest. And they locked him up for 30 days in their cell. I think eventually they released him. And he said he told himself that if he has an opportunity, he would deal with these police officers. When the Boko Haram recruiters came calling a few weeks later, he was happy to join. After their rudimentary training, the first place he led attack on was that police station. He killed all of them, all the police officers there. That guy was not in Boko Haram because he was a Muslim or some religious purpose. It was because of the failure of the criminal justice system. So that is why, it's lazy analysis to think, Boko Haram, they're all Islamic terrorists. No, there's that element, I agree. But there are all kinds of reasons. It's not even Fulani problem alone. During Buhari, we got up to the point where we had 86. That's according to the Inspector General of Police. We had 86 armed non-state groups in Nigeria. IGP Alkali said so. So it's a public record. 86 armed non-state groups. So which means there are now almost 86 mercenary groups in Nigeria. And the report is that the most effective, I'm using effective in a perverse way now, the most effective groups were the Fulani ones. Because they would take their whatever they're high on, whatever they are, and they can kill anybody.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yes, you just listened to Dr. Charles Omini, author of the book From Soldier to Statesman, The Legacy of Muhammadu Buhari. What do you have to say? It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned. So let's continue the discourse online. There's a caller here. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Edmond.
Your name and where you calling from?
This is Mr. Ola. I'm calling from Ibadan. Quickly, I just want to talk about the last caller when he talked about the road from Ife, Edi to Osun State. Once a victim on that road, yes, last 3 years, on my way to see my beautiful wife at a school in Osun State. Though the road is very bad, I don't know, maybe the driver has collaboration with those guys there, I just don't know. After some minutes, I was like, no any other car or vehicle that is coming. I was like, what is the problem? But we are just going. I think that should be around 6:38 p.m. Yes, this very day. Suddenly, we just saw this guy from front just shooting. Immediately, the driver just put in reverse. People are just shouting inside the bus. The moment he put in reverse, it's like we are in the middle of them, because the moment he put on the reverse, others are already at the back. They just cross-check us at the back. You know, before reversing, like within 3 seconds or 4 seconds, the remaining one started shooting at that bus. Come and see, shout inside.
Wow. I wanted to hear this story. What happened? Please, can you call back? I want to hear that story, the full story. Let me see. I think I need to interview that caller. Okay, the lines are open. You can call 080-309-18449. That's the number to call. Let's hear from you. I'm trying to trace the number of the last caller. Okay. Let me call him. I want to hear that story. He's not picking. All right, he's not picking the call. So what do you think? You've listened to Chief Adini this morning. You've listened to Taiwo Adibio. You've listened to Dele Farotimi. The ball is in your court. All right, I can hear you.
So after some second reversing, they just came from our back also. Just like a 2 bullets. The driver doesn't have any alternative than for him to just stop. We all are scared. We are just shouting, praying. Without not taking much of time, they just said everybody should come down. Then there is already a lot of bullets in part of the body of the vehicle I board. They have to bring all us down, collecting all our luggages, my laptop, my phones, everything. Just park us inside that bush. Yes, we are now moving. Edmond, we moved from around that 7 p.m. to around that, I think I can't recall the specific time because I'm no longer with the phone. I think if I should get the time, it should be around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning the next day. That next day should be Saturday. It was a bad experience. It was a bad experience.
One of the lady, I think she just got married, maybe not 2-3 months, because I can hear a conversation where on our way going, the lady is gone now. So it was a bad experience, though after some time paying some money, they released us after the 3rd day. But what I'm trying to say here is that I think there should be a security on that, because that road is bad. I agree. After then, I was now hearing that road is bad, so those vehicles don't pass through that road that we pass. Majority of them pass through one way as if we are going to Akure. It was like maybe that driver knew about it. That was the reason why he passed through that road, because the road is bad. A lot of potholes on the road. And in fact, I can't say much about it, because if I should start saying my experience, despite it's over 2 years now, I'm still feeling the trauma on me till now.
What happened to the lady? What happened to the lady? What happened to the lady?
The lady is gone already. They shot her because she was just busy screaming. I think that the way she is screaming is affecting them. Despite they are telling us to shut up, she was just continue shouting, God. Yeah. So one of them, a very small boy, looking at him, not more than 22 years. Yes, but he's a very small boy, looking at his face. He just shot him. The moment he shot him, they just put her at one side. We start the journey again, because in fact, I don't want to say much about it. If not that man that said, if not that previous caller that said something about that road, that was prompt me to call and talk about that road, that specific road. Ife, going to Oshun, Ilon. Even I'm going to Elisha, yes, because that's where my wife is schooling, doing his master. So it's along that road after Ife. The road is bad.
Now, so did you see their faces?
No. I don't have that courage to do that. Like I said, it was moment it happened. It should be around 6:40 or 6:52 p.m. It's still somehow showing like a lighting along the road before this thing now happened. After that, I can't recall anything. Only thing I can just recall is that they shot the lady. They took all our luggages, everything, money, everything, including my bag where I keep my laptop, my gadget. That's the only thing I can remember. And when the lady was shot, I can feel the sound too heavy. When you are close to a gunshot, you know how that. In fact, it's okay, please. The trauma is still there. Seriously, the trauma is still
there. Their voices. Who did they sound like? Did they sound like Nigerians?
The way they sound like in Nigeria, but their English is very poor. When you are speaking with these Hausa people, whenever you want to board bike from there, the way they do talk, that is where their English is. Their English is not too okay, because now just for this ethnic something, I will not say this kind of people, but the way I look at them, to me, because I don't want to put it in, maybe some certain people like that other caller said. To me, the way I look at them, they are Fulanis there, living in that forest. I'm not talking about ethnic group like this. I'm not doing bias. I'm trying to say what I saw, because their face was covered and they are putting on those their big, I won't call it jalamia, yes, all this article they do wear them. These people that do drive this cow, that is the way they like 4 of them dress. So the other one, I don't have that privilege to look more, because it's between me and death. We are seeing death physically at that moment. It was a bad experience, very, very bad experience to me. Very, very, because I've never, though I do travel, yes, I do travel, but that would be a very first time and what was a bad experience to me. Yes.
Sorry about what you went through.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. You heard that story? A sad story. The lines are open. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. You can only reach me on WhatsApp, okay? Not the studio lines, because I'm not in the studio. So you can only reach me on WhatsApp. And the number is 080-309-18449. That is 080-309-18449. As you join the discourse, let's listen to Dr. Kayode Fayemi as he defines his party, the All Progressives Congress.
Bandits are at the edges.
The party is now the agent of government, not the other way around.
You're also guilty, are you not?
How am I guilty?
You imposed a governorship candidate as the leader of your party.
No, I didn't.
You didn't impose?
I didn't impose anybody.
You were the leader of the party.
I was the leader of the party.
You were the party.
No, I wasn't the party. There was a primary in my state that the current governor contested against at least 6 other candidates.
And you used your influence.
I don't think using influence or having a preference is necessarily a bad thing. What is bad is preventing people from exercising their franchise. And we did not do that in Ekiti. Because for me, even when I told you that I was invited and supported by Governor Adibio, in 2006, in the primary in my party, I ran against 33 candidates. Even as former governor, serving minister, who just resigned from office, I was not coronated. I went to the field with another 20 aspirants. They didn't give me the preference that, he was a former governor, let's just hand it over to him to contest for the governorship. No. So the tradition in Ekiti, I don't know about other places, and there's nothing in principle.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yes, you just heard the voice of Dr. Kayode Fayemi, a former governor of Ekiti State. I reviewed his book. Fayemi is the author of the book, If This Giant Must Rise. If This Giant Must Rise. Interventions on Leadership and Governance in Africa. It's an interesting book. I recommend the book to you. Read the book. Fayemi made some solid points in that book. In the course of reviewing the book, we discussed politics. We discussed politics intensely. Kayode Fayemi is on State Affairs.
And you blame Jonathan for that?
Well, we've moved on from that. These are my brothers now. It was Jonathan's government. He may not have been personally involved, but it couldn't have been done without him. Don't forget that Ekiti election was the prelude to the 2015 election, Ekiti and Osun election.
Yes.
And a lot transpired, which will come out in my memoirs. All manner of complicity.
You're not ready to write a memoir. You said it here.
No, I'm not ready. Not yet.
You are 61.
Exactly. So
why not write it now?
No, because the time is not due. I'm still on a journey.
Do you still want to be president?
My political journey is not ended.
You still want to be president?
I still want to serve Nigeria to
As
the best
president?
of my capacity. I want to serve Nigeria.
Now, the PDP treated you unkindly. And during Buhari's time, you stepped down as Minister of Mines.
Yes.
Did the APC treat the PDP unkindly too, for you to win?
I don't believe so. If you know President Muhammadu Buhari, the late president, you would know that he was aloof to a large extent. He never really directly intervened in any political shenanigans, and left to him. He probably would have preferred that I stayed, but because I insisted that I had unfinished business in Ekiti, he gave his blessing that I could go and try my luck. But I don't think anyone could have accused him of dealing the PDP any blow. He would not even subscribe to it. If you look at all the elections that transpired during Buhari's time, I don't think there was anything untoward about it.
Remember, the sitting governor at the time was crying.
Well,
Fayose cried.
The sitting governor at the time, everybody knows him as a dramatist.
Fayose cried.
I don't know about that, but he's a very comical person.
And he's not your friend.
He's my brother. For me, I am primarily committed to the Ekiti party, and he served the state. He did his best when he was in office. We're both out of office. We have found ourselves in common company. He's supporting my party, at least in the gubernatorial race that is coming up next week. So why should I be opposed to somebody who is supporting my party and supporting my governor?
How do politicians do it? They fight today, tomorrow, they are chummy. How?
I don't think politicians are enemies. The fact that we belong to different political persuasions should not necessarily constitute itself into enmity.
Do you see the tensions that come with elections?
Yes, but those tensions are for the moment. Because at the end of the day, what we're competing over is how to serve the people. It's public good. And it should be a marketplace of idea where contestation over my own vision of public good should be looked at vis-a-vis your own vision of the public good. More often than not, it's the followers. It is the followers.
Who instigates the followers?
I don't necessarily think anyone. For example, I talked about the 2014 episode that you referred to. If I had encouraged the APC followers to reject that election, and then it resulted in bloodletting, if I were to be that kind of politician, I would not see anything wrong in it. But I didn't want the blood of anyone on my hands. And that's why I said, look, I've called the winner of the election. I'm meeting with him. We're planning the transition. And I'm not going to court. And the tension came significantly down in the state. Don't forget, we have a history in that part of Nigeria. Well, in this part of Nigeria. This is the Operation Wetie zone. This is the 83 Omobori Ajashin zone. So it could have been a Fayemi bloodletting, and the houses would have been, the carnage would have ensued, the state would have been destroyed, property and life would have been lost, and then what? Over a position? I believe I was justified to have walked away from that. And I also believe they contributed significantly to the way Ekiti people saw me when I came back to say I wanted to finish the work I was doing.
Was Tinubu against you in 2014?
Was he against me?
Yes.
Are we here to discuss Tinubu?
I'm just asking. It is politics. Why did you step down for him in 2023?
Oh, I said it in my speech stepping down, that Tinubu and I had been in the trenches together. Of all the people who are in the race with me, at least it was someone that I could tell you that I was very familiar with his trajectory in politics, with his courage, with his consistency, with his can-do spirit, and that I was a much younger person, and that there's still time for me. That was exactly what I said in my concession speech, and I then went ahead to do what I had to do in order to ensure that he won, including bringing the G5 into his fold, by the way. But that's a story for another.
The G5. How did you do it?
I was chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, so I had cross-party affiliation.
What did you say to Wike?
That would be in my memoirs.
What did you say to Shea Makinde?
These are my friends, and they were governors in the Nigerian Governors Forum. So I knew what challenges they were going through on the other side, and I felt I was reasonably well positioned to bridge the gap once they fell into difficulty with their own party and the candidate Atiku. So,
what was the deal?
The deal to...
There must be some negotiations.
Of course. There are always negotiations in politics.
So what was offered?
You read my memoirs.
I'm waiting to read your memoirs. I like chapter 3 of this book. Alternative politics. Political alternatives and innovative social change in Nigeria. Dr. Fayemi says on page 33 that from my experience, our primary challenge is not so much the absence of alternatives, but lack of critical recognition or even awareness of these alternatives and the possibilities that they offer for social change. But lack of critical recognition. Lack of critical recognition. How?
Well, in that chapter, I was talking about how do we get to the solution. This book is solutions driven, as you've pointed out. And I was looking at how best can we accelerate development in the overall interest of the people. And I explained that what we've been having is political alternatives. If you're not happy with APC, you jump to PDP. If you're not happy with PDP, you go to Labour. If you're not happy with Labour, you go to whatever else is out there as the party. And these have become indistinguishable. But then what we need is really political. What we need is really alternative politics. And I also tried to explain what I meant by alternative politics there. I was talking about in a divided multi-ethnic society, we've practiced electoralism now for 26 years. We go to the polls every 4 years. We produce a government. And what comes out of the government?
Poverty. Banditry.
Is worse than what the previous condition was. So, isn't it time to try alternative politics that is really driven by inclusion? And I said there that this majoritarian winner-takes-all approach is not taking us anywhere developmentally, and that we probably need another alternative political framework that allows us to deal with the structure question and then deal with the governance question. Because for those of us who are structuralists, we believe that the problem of Nigeria cannot be resolved until you restructure Nigeria. And for those who are in the good governance school, they will tell you that there's nothing wrong with the structure of Nigeria. All you need is competent people. If competent people are in charge, Nigeria will be hunky-dory. Everything will be right. Both sides are wrong. Competence alone is not enough. But restructuring will not solve the problem if you don't have people with modicum of character, competence, and courage. So that's what I meant by alternative politics. It's a difficult proposition to put out there, that this 4-year cycle that is not getting us anywhere.
Are you debating this in your party?
Oh, yes. People know my view about this, that majoritarian democracy is not taking us anywhere.
How has your party received your views?
Well, you always have in every party ideological debates. And one of the propositions I've made to the party is that and we're not doing enough of it. We need to be having policy conferences annually to review where we are with the manifesto we sold to the people and how far we've gone in delivering the goods we promised the people. And if there are areas where there are gaps, to correct ourselves. And these policy conferences should have all the actors giving an account of what they've done. Ministers, president, everybody. But, we have inverted this relationship. The party is now the agent of government, not the other way around.
You're also guilty, are you not?
How am I guilty?
You imposed a governorship candidate as the leader of your party.
No, I didn't.
You didn't impose?
I didn't impose anybody.
You were the leader of the party.
I was the leader of the party.
You were the party.
No, I wasn't the party. There was a primary in my state that the current governor contested against at least 6 other candidates.
And you used your influence.
I don't think using influence or having a preference is necessarily a bad thing. What is bad is preventing people from exercising their franchise. And we did not do that in Ekiti. Because for me, even when I told you that I was invited and supported by Governor Adebayo, in 2006, in the primary in my party, I ran against 33 candidates. Even as former governor, serving minister, who just resigned from office, I was not coronated. I went to the field with another 20 aspirants. They didn't give me the preference that, he was a former governor, let's just hand it over to him to contest for the governorship. No. So the tradition in Ekiti, I don't know about other places, and there's nothing in principle wrong with consensus. If it is genuine consensus, I have no objection to it. However, I am a product of a democratic process, and I would always be on the side of primary.
On the side of primary?
All the time.
No, your party has become consensus here, consensus there.
Well, those are also part of the challenges that we're dealing with. I agree with you, and I am critical of it.
You listen to APC. I don't see intellectualism in your party. I just see raw politics.
You don't see intellectualism because there's no debate in our party.
I don't see debate.
There's no debate. The chapter you referred to there was an address that I gave at the party conference, the Southwest Conference of the party in Lagos. And I was very explicit that this is not where the party has come from, that we have lost our bearing and we've lost the vision of the founding fathers of this party.
One of the founding fathers is the president.
Well, yes, the president is one of the founding fathers, but maybe it's...
Even local government chairmen run to the president.
Maybe he's consumed by the minutiae of governance, and he has left that to others to handle.
Is that not Tinubu's politics?
What do you
is
mean?
That not Tinubu's politics?
What is his politics?
Imposition.
I don't believe so.
Is that not Tinubu's politics?
Is that his politics?
Yes.
Well, you are assessing this from the outside. I am inside.
Even from Lagos State, when Tinubu speaks, everybody keeps quiet.
Maybe they agree with him.
And now you see everybody running to Aso Rock when they should be on the field.
It would be unfortunate if everybody running to Aso Rock because they want to see. They may be going to Aso Rock for a variety of reasons.
They're all begging for consensus. And you hear the debate, the president have chosen this person. Step down.
But you know the danger of that? So those who don't get that consensus, what do you think will happen? You think they'll be happy? So you are waiting for an implosion then.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You just listened to my chat with Dr. Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ekiti State. He is the author of the book, If This Giant Must Rise, Intervention on Leadership and Governance in Africa, Interventions on Leadership and Governance in Africa. What do you have to say? So the lines are open again. So the lines are open. Join the discourse. Call 080-309-18449. WhatsApp call. We've been talking about the threat of jihadists, and in this case, I'm talking about terrorist jihadists who are running riot on the Nigerian state. Can we check them now? They are in Yoruba land already. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
This is Samuel calling from Ajibode here in Ibadan.
Good to hear your voice. Hello, make your point.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Make your point. Thank you. Thank you for calling. So the line is open. That is 080-309-18449. You've listened to Chief Adini.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Edmondo Bilo. Good morning. This Q Lazy is good to hear from you again.
Thank you.
Yes. We are at a juncture in the country where life is uncertain, and I've heard from the interviews that we've heard today, and the one that disturbs me most is that we don't know when this bandit will strike again. I feel when I heard the news that a child as old as 2-3 years, 2-3 years, Edmond, is currently in the forest, a thick forest. I shed tears. I shed deep tears because I looked at the rainfall and the weather, and I asked myself, how would these children survive in this cold climate? Some could actually die of cold. No sustenance, nothing to hold them, no blankets to keep them warm. I shed tears, Edmund. As a man, I shed tears, and I feel that our government should stop playing politics with our lives. When I called the last time, you said you responded to my message saying that, well, let's continue watching and not do anything. I've heard from Agbowo, I've heard from Igbowo, and also the Are Kakanfo. I mean, they should just rise and do something. They should rise and do something. They shouldn't wait. The government cannot save us. They can't do anything. They cannot save us. They can't help us. They should rise and protect the Southwest. The way I see it, I know we are capable of standing against these bandits. I know we can. I pray with somebody's challenge, and that these children are rescued at the end of the day and taken back to their family. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Yeah. Ebenezer Oluwatoyin is my name. I'm calling from Wofun area of Kute, Ibadan. See, when I look at all of this happening, I just come to a compromise that this would have a negative effect in the political wise, in the economic, on the country. You see, I used to ask myself, why do brain drain, human capital flight is happening this much? Look at the sports, look at the academians, look at the health, the medical, look at the engineering system. You discover that Nigeria is actually suffering from brain drain. Why? Because of all of this that we have put in place. And in respect to everything that is happening, you would see that none of those children that are victim of terrorism, victim of kidnapping, would grow up and want to defend the country Nigeria. If by chance they all live like Victor Moses did. Thank God that he later came back and played for Nigeria. And if this continues, you would discover that we are going to be having brain drain in its full realm. We should rise up. God had helped us. So we should stop calling on God in everything, in all of these things. God bless us. Thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you for calling. Thank you. I appreciate your contributions. Thank you. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. The next program is Bangbala Shata with Abiodun Adewale. I worked with Bosun Alayode to bring you this edition of the program. I also thank Sholaro for starting the show with me. Next week is another time. Do not despair. Somehow, we'll make things right. I am Edmund Obilo. Thank you for listening.